It has been a very fun day so far here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational, and things are about to get loud as we have moved inside this 600,000 square foot facility at Rogue HQ in Columbus, Ohio. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. This is where we stand after two events in the men's competition. Patrick Vellner has the lead with 190 points, 30 points up on Matt Fraser. If you remember, it looked like Matt Fraser won that first event, but he and some of the other athletes were hit with a 10-second penalty. Rory McKernan has more on that.
Yeah, Sean, you'll remember the field of play looked something like what we've got here in event number one. The athletes were meant to exit the building all the way around the banners and then out of the stadium. 11 athletes failed to do so. Matt Fraser was one of them. All of those athletes were hit with an 11-second penalty. That put Vellner into the top spot and the overall points leader at this point in the competition.
And thank you for being with us here as we roll on in day number one of competition at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. We have two battles developing here for the men. The first is at the top of the overall standings. That one sort of close as Patrick Vellner is trying to hold off Matt Fraser. But the other battle, the big one for that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games, right now it's Chandler Smith and it's everybody else.
Well, and we talked about how important this was with such a stacked field that now we get to see guys that are towards the bottom will be battling. Chandler had two amazing finishes in the beginning and has an absolute stranglehold on that next spot. He's got 94 points ahead of the second place person, so very comfortable position, and if he wants to make it to the games, this is his best shot to do it.
But Chandler Smith was very impressive in that last event. This next event, though, will be one of the longest that the men face in this competition. It is the Chipper, 25-minute time cap, and a whole lot of work. And those box jumps, those box jump overs, I should say, that's different than we've seen in competition.
Well, I mean, they are all the way over. That's what's going to be tough about this and unique about this. This really is, this entire event is an assault on the legs, so they need to be very wary of all those reps and their legs through the entire event.
The third of 8 scored events here. Heat number one, Chandler Smith in lane number 2. Once again, he is the man who has a stranglehold right now on that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. He is in 5th place overall, and as you heard Bill say, he has quite the cushion over Ben Smith heading into this event.
10 seconds.
We are underway. The Chipper start with 100 calories on the rower. There are 293 total scored reps in this event. That is Casper Gamelmark getting to work on his 100 calories. Chandler Smith on the left of your screen. Right next to him is Jake Berman, and Chandler Smith now looking to repeat the performance that we saw from him in the prior event as he looks to put even more distance between himself and the men chasing him for that invite to Madison.
Well, if you're looking at a rowing type event, you got to be very smart about what you're doing. And these guys are starting off with that rowing. You got to tempo the legs. And what I mean tempo is not pace it, but if you look across all the different pieces of movement in this particular event, it's all legs. We have rowing, we have jumping, and even though we have the GHC in there, there's a lot of legs using that as well. And then those box jumps, so you really need to be very smart about that. The other part of the mental landmines. A lot of reps, a lot of good athletes on the field, and they know what's at stake. So you can't let a no rep stop you. You just need to keep on going through that, be very smart, come out with your plan, and stick to that plan. Don't let things derail you mentally.
And now it's Casper Gamelmark, Streat Hoerner. They're on the lead pace here as they work their way through those 100 calories. They will get a rep for every 10 calories they complete. So 10 reps will signify the end of their 100-calorie row.
I think all of these athletes, for the most part, are going to be very relaxed on this row. You're not going to win the event on the row, and the thing that's always so detrimental to so many athletes is they put too much on this first step of this chipper, and when it's a row, I mean, you add 10 seconds to your row, and it will either, it may get you into the lead, but you're smashed after that. So you just need to be very comfortable. So you're going to see a lot of these guys pulling back and stopping, really trying to recover as much as possible, get as much pull and power on that cable as they can, but really relax on the way out.
This heat is huge as far as the race to earn that invite from the 2019 Rogue Invitational is concerned. take a look at the standings of the men who are vying for that. Chandler Smith, 5th place overall, 134 points. Ben Smith is the next closest guy. He's got 40. So Ben Smith is going to have to start not only finishing in the top 3, but also hoping that man, Chandler Smith, finishes way down the leaderboard to make up that deficit.
You know, and it's an amazing thing what momentum can do for people. The fact that Chandler is up there, we already heard, he even said, one of the things that I struggle with are those positive thoughts. Well, when you know you have that much of a lead on someone and you don't have the pressure anymore, you can start performing. And I think he put himself in a great position, and he just looks very strong. We already know how he can pull on the deadlift, so I think that's really going to translate well here to the row. He just needs to stay relaxed and stay calm so that he can really put the pedal to the metal on that back half of this event.
Let's go back down to Rory McKernan, who's standing by on the competition floor.
Sean, building your point about Ben Smith making up grounds, in other events that I've been to, I was in Shanghai, I was in Reykjavik, there was a small number of elite athletes and not very many opportunities to make up a lot of ground. So we've seen Ben Smith do the impossible against an athletic field like this. What plays in his favor is that he does have some of the top athletes in the sport who can help him put distance between him and Chandler Smith. As you mentioned, though, he's got to start doing his work right now.
Thank you, Rowan. Remember, Ben Smith does have a history of making some pretty dramatic comebacks. We saw that a couple years ago at the regionals when it looked like after a couple events he was left for dead and then climbed back up and got himself to the CrossFit Games. Colton Mertens is in the blue shirt in the middle of your screen. He's another man who is 94 points back of Chandler Smith. So the men in this heat, they don't need to worry about Pat Vellner and Matt Fraser and that whole crew at the top of the leaderboard. Right now, they all have to start thinking about reeling in Chandler Smith. And Casper Gamelmark will be the first man off of the rower. He has already qualified for the CrossFit Games. He finished 24th in the Worldwide Open, and he is now on to his 80 wall balls. 293 scored repetitions here. This is the 3rd of 8 scored events for the individuals. Lane 5 is Streat Hoerner, another man who has already qualified. For the 2 men who have already gotten themselves to Madison are on to the wall balls.
And what's really tricky about that 80 number on the wall ball is all these athletes can do this. And it's not even the heavy wall ball. I will tell you right now that the majority of these athletes will do workouts at home with a 30-pound wall ball. They won't even touch the 20. But here they can. And all that's going to do is force them into doing more reps than they would normally do, really push that tempo so that they just need to make sure that they relax. Colton Mertens was very calm on the row. We saw how much of a rest he was taking on every single one of those pulls. That's a good thing. Let himself build through this event. Let himself get into this wall ball. As you can see, the tempo's a little bit faster for him, which I think is good. Now he can start picking up and start moving.
Jacob Faff in lane 8. He has the gray shirt on doing the wall balls. Right now, he is trying to track down Chandler Smith, who sits in 3rd place in this heat. So Faff is the closest guy to Smith, who has yet to qualify or earn an invite to the CrossFit Games. That is Jacob Faff, who did not do the Worldwide Open this year. He has been to the regionals a couple of times before, once on a team and one time as an individual. His best individual finish was in 2018 when he was 24th at the Pacific Regional.
And what's really impressive with a lot of these athletes, and we're seeing this kind of on both the men's side and the women's side, is you see these incredible leaps of improvement from one year to the next year. Kind of makes you wonder what exactly they're doing in the offseason, you know?
Casper Gamelmark is still your leader in this heat. 74 of those 293 reps down Chandler Smith, 11 reps back of him. And for Chandler Smith, again, the key is just to stay ahead of those guys who are chasing him for the invite.
And you can see that big arm wave that he's using there. All that's supposed to do is get the blood back to the fingertips. A lot of times when you have your hands in an upright position, those muscles start to just get fatigued because they don't have as much oxygen, much blood going to them. So he's trying to get that blood to get back down to the fingertips, get his arms back down, relax his shoulders just a touch.
Streat Hoerner has overtaken Casper Gamelmark for the lead, and Hoerner has now completed his 80 wall balls, and he will move on to the 60 Ghd Situps. But Hoerner, once again, already in the CrossFit Games. He's in the gray shorts getting onto the GHD, and Streat Hoerner in lane 5. He is now moving towards the middle of your screen. He's on his GHD sit-up. So those two men are in the lead, Streat Hoerner and Casper Gamelmark.
Now, for those of you that have done the GHD in your own gym somewhere, for some odd reason, you wanted to get some abs on there, this apparatus, yes, it hurts your stomach, and you feel that for sure mostly the next day, but you really feel it in your legs. When you're dropping your knees down to engage those hip flexors, that's a lot of quad. So we just did rowing, you're gonna feel that in the hips. We just did wall balls, that's gonna be blowing your legs out, but you can see when they're really flexing their legs down, that's a lot of quad. So it's not just a stomach thing. In fact, they're not feeling it in their abs at all. They're feeling it all in their legs.
Streat Hoerner and Casper Gamelmark are through 110 of those 293 scored repetitions. Meanwhile, Chandler Smith is in third, and he is holding off Colton Mertens and Jacob Faff.
Look at that tempo. So much faster than everyone else. Now, you talk about body mechanics and what kind of advantage it's going to give you. If you have to do wall balls, you want to be a taller athlete. If you need to do GHD, you want to be a shorter athlete. You have shorter legs, shorter torso, you're going to be able to rapid fire. And look at that. It's making my stomach and legs hurt right now.
And we saw Chandler Smith tell the crowd to let's hear it. And it is clear who they want to earn that invite to the CrossFit Games. Remember, Chandler Smith made his competitive debut in 2016 at the regionals, and he was impressive. We thought he might qualify, but unfortunately he faded late in that competition. He wound up finishing 9th in that regional competition, but he certainly put on a memorable performance, and right now he is threatening to leave no doubt as far as that invite to the CrossFit Games is concerned.
Man, the speed that he is going, look at that compared to the rest of the field. You see all these guys are hanging out, and he's just going like crazy.
And he has overtaken Hoerner and Gamelmark for the lead. Chandler Smith through 148 and counting now of those 293 scored repetitions. Up next, it's the 40 box jump overs, and Chandler Smith gets right to work. Now remember, you can't touch the top of the box with your feet. You have to clear it. On the right is Streat Hoerner. Hoerner has already qualified, so Chandler Smith can basically forget about him right now.
And to your point, Sean, that's something that Chandler needs to be thinking. He needs to know that he can't let Streat push him into a place that's going to be dangerous where he ends up blowing up. He's got to be smart about it. You use him as a rabbit, fine, but not something that leads you to where you go so deep into the red that you explode. He's got to keep his tempo, just relax, know where he is, and just keep on moving at his speed.
The guys that Chandler Smith has to worry about are Jake Berman, Dylan Martin, Colton Mertens, Jacob Faff, and Jake Fry, and all of them are well behind Smith right now. And Ben Smith is in the next heat, so Chandler doesn't know what he's going to do, but as long as he stays towards the front here, is Colton Mertens, who is one of the shorter athletes, is going to have to get a heck of a running start on some of these, it looks like.
And we talked about what the GHC does to your legs. I don't know if you saw it or not, but when he got off the GHC, he looked like Bambi. He wobbled. So that just shows how much leg abuse is going on.
And Mertens is just 5'4" tall. Now Jacob Faff in the gray shirt, he's onto the box jump overs, but it's Streat Hoerner and Chandler Smith who are setting the lead pace, and now both of them are getting set to finish up their box jump overs. 293 total repetitions here. He's got about 8 to go, does Chandler Smith. Streat Hoerner's back in the lead, but again, Chandler Smith is ahead of the men he needs to beat in this event. There is your leader right now in this heat, Streat Hoerner, who finished 14th in the World Wide Open to get himself to Madison, Wisconsin. Now Hoerner is done, and he will move on to the walking lunge. 2 53-pound kettlebells overhead. He has to go up and down 4 times. 4 lengths of the floor. Chandler Smith, he is onto the walking lunge. Well, Hoerner has made the turn, and he'll be halfway through after this trip. Chandler Smith, meanwhile, is just running away with this as far as the guys who are trying to earn the invite to the CrossFit Games are concerned. And he is leaving no doubt. Streat Hoerner continues to lead, though, now through 198 of the 293 scored reps.
Chandler taking that break. I think that's a smart move. Again, as long as he knows where he is, keeps himself from blowing up, he's going to do great. So just keep on moving. Now, we do have those guys up in the front. That next heat, they may slot between and give him a little bit more cushion, but he just needs to stay ahead of those guys that we were talking about earlier.
So Hoerner is in to make that 203 scored repetitions. Wow. As Streat Hoerner will take the heat. Chandler Smith is solidly in second place right now. As Kasper Gammelmark is in third, and he is still on his box jump overs. And here comes Chandler Smith. Smith is in, and he will take second in the heat and maybe get himself one step closer to Madison.
There's a little bit of focus on there. I don't think he really realized where everybody else was.
Kasper Gammelmark, another man who's already qualified, is on the walking lunge as he looks to take third place in this heat. So Streat Hoerner's time of 12:53.79 will be the mark to beat heading into the second and final heat. Jacob Faff in the gray shirt, he is on his overhead lunge. Adrian Moonweiler on the left of your screen, looking to close out his event. He has already earned a trip to the CrossFit Games. He'll be making his third appearance.
Looking to take over that third place position as he gets those row kettlebells up and overhead.
Approaching the 15-minute mark. As both Streat Hoerner and Chandler Smith have finished. Jacob Faff is halfway done, and Gammelmark is on the right, Moonweiler is on the left. This is the battle for third place, and they are about dead even on this overhead walking lunge. Gammelmark has his kettlebells down. He's across. He'll take third place in the heat. Now Mertens and Moonweiler come across at about the same time, and Dylan Martin, he finishes up as well.
We still have 3 athletes trying to finish up the chipper.
3 men are left. That's Jake Berman in lane number 3. 39th in the World Wide Open. Just on the outside of that cut line. That's Kasper Gammelmark, who takes third in the heat with a time of 15 minutes, 13.63 seconds. Now, Jake Fry just came across the finish line, and Jake Berman closing out his event. Berman is in. 2 men left on the floor, Jacob Faff and Jake Fry. So Jake Fry accidentally tripped his time chip, but he still is on the floor, and now Jacob Faff is in, and that leaves Jake Fry, the last man on the floor. The crowd here at the Rogue Fitness headquarters in Columbus, Ohio, brings Jake Fry across the finish line, and that'll do it for the opening heat of event number 3, the chipper. The Streat Hoerner gets the heat win. Chandler Smith takes second. And now Chandler Smith will sit and wait to see what Ben Smith will do in the next heat.
So we knew this was going to be an assault on the legs, and we saw just how all these athletes had to deal with that. Starting off with that row, everyone was staying nice and relaxed. You started seeing a little bit of tempo changes in the wall ball. Chandler Smith up the top part of the screen, really figuring out what he needed to do. Streat Hoerner also making it through those wall balls and then really pushing on the GHD. He got to the GHD first, but I'll tell you what, Chandler Smith was a machine on the GHD, was moving so much faster than everyone else, was able to get off the GHD and start in those jumps, but right after that, Streat Hoerner hopped on the jump and was able to pull himself ahead. You can see that I think Chandler dipped into that red zone just a little bit too much, but he knew exactly what he needed to do, hung out exactly where he needed to that entire time. Streat looked great, and I think that sets a great time for the rest of the field to kind of mark. I mean, he looked great on the lunges, you know, coming through that finish, but Chandler Smith held his spot exactly what he needed to do to keep that cushion and keep pushing for that extra spot to the games.
Hoerner gets the heat win. And Chandler Smith maybe winning the war as he takes second in this heat, a time of 13:23.53 seconds. Again, he has a huge cushion over the next two men who are trying to earn that invite. Ben Smith is going to be trying to catch him in the next heat. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the second and final heat of the men's chipper from Columbus, Ohio. It is a jam-packed indoor arena here at Rogue headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. Thanks for being with us, everybody, here at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. This is the third of 8 scored events for the men. It is the chipper. I'm Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. Let's take a look at where we stand coming into this event. Pat Vellner with a 30-point lead over Matt Fraser. Remember, if you were with us earlier, Matt Fraser got hit with that penalty for exiting the building improperly during the first event of the day. That's what knocked him from the top spot in that opening event, and he now trails Vellner by 30 points. Ben Smith in 13th is trying to track down Chandler Smith as Ben Smith looks to earn an invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games and keep his streak alive. The event up next is the chipper. There's a whole lot of work to be done here.
All kinds of reps to be had, and you see that long list. We start off with the row, which is always just kind of a kick in the gut, but this entire event is about the legs. And man, we saw the Bambis in that last heat, so see how these guys can handle this work.
10 men in the second and final heat. Your overall leaders will be in the middle of the floor, but keep a close eye on Ben Smith in lane 9. He has got to start finishing ahead of Chandler Smith if he wants to cut into that gigantic lead that Chandler had coming into this event. He's got his work cut out for him.
He really does. And you know what, in that last event, that 21:59 deadlifts and burpee pull-ups, I saw him break so many times. So I don't know if he's here. I don't know if the Ben Smith in the head is ready to go or is ready to put it all out on the floor, because he needs to have a big event. And I'll tell you what, like it's stacked up against him here.
We are underway as Ben Smith looks to start cutting into Chandler Smith's lead, and it is a sizable one. And Ben Smith has made some impressive comebacks during his career. He's going to have to pull off another one here at the Rogue Invitational.
Now, we talked about what these athletes need to do, Ben Smith in particular. You need to tempo your legs in this event. Every single element of this event has to do with your legs. So be very smart about how hard you're pushing, if you're going to take breaks, when you're going to take them. But the other part is going to be the mental landmines. One is getting no reps. Two is seeing where other people are going and trying to play into their game. You need to do your game. You know how your training is, and you need to stay away from those landmines of following these other people. Do your plan, take it to the finish.
We talked about the battle going on between Ben Smith and Chandler Smith. Pat Vellner, he's in the battle for the overall event win here, right now sitting in first place overall, but trying to hold off a man by the name of Matt Fraser.
You know what? There's a lot to do with momentum, and he's a very confident athlete anyway. The fact that he has momentum playing into his favor, I think that's going to do nothing but help him and keep propelling him so that he honestly believes that. He's the only guy out here that vocally says, I'm ready to take Matt Fraser. No one else says that. So the fact that he has these wins and he's getting that momentum is huge for him.
There are 203 scored repetitions in this event, and they will get 1 rep for every 10 calories they complete on this 100-calorie row. It's Matt Fraser trying to make up 30 points and overtake Pat Vellner for the lead. But once again, Matt Fraser, as are many of the athletes in this heat, playing with house money as he is already qualified for the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games.
And, you know, it's amazing that he doesn't, what we've always enjoyed watching with Matt is when he doesn't have to perform, there's no pressure on him to perform, he always does anyway. It's interesting when you see him irritated that he's not doing what he needs to do. I don't think he likes being in second place, especially when you're practicing, you know, through the Open and you win the Worldwide Open, or you go to Dubai just to kind of make sure things are going okay and you win that. He's used to winning, and I don't think he's used to being in the second place position. But he's also a very experienced athlete, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays for him later today and tomorrow.
Noah Olson, meanwhile, comes in tied for 6th place overall. He's going to be heading back to the CrossFit Games, and this is a guy that is just really looking to put it all together when he finally gets to the CrossFit Games. He's always had that one mistake that has kept him off the podium.
It's been really amazing that one athlete can have so many things happen like that, but you're right, he's always kind of been in that eclipsed by what's supposed to happen. Always hits those trip lines, but you know, when he's good, he's amazing.
Ben Smith right now is through 70 of the 100 calories. He and Travis Mayer. Mayer's on the far right of your screen. They are your leaders along with Hoegberg, Cole Sager, Pat Vellner. They're all on the lead pace, so we should be seeing these men all get off the rower at about the same time. Ben Smith right now is in 13th place overall. He has 40 points. Chandler Smith finished 2nd in the prior heat. He has 134 points coming into this event. That is a huge deficit for Ben Smith to make up. Now remember, the scoring is a little different here than it is at the Games. You do get 100 points for the win, but second place gets 90, so that deficit is bigger. So if you can win an event and get some people between you and the guy you're chasing, you can make up a lot of ground.
You really can, and you know, there's a strategy to that, so you need to be aware of that. I'm really impressed with the tempo that Ben is rowing. I mean, that's he's moving. He's really moving, and we have a lot of work that we still have to do yet.
Well, Travis Mayer, first man off the rower, and he is right to work on his 80 wall balls.
Man, and he is all by himself. He is off and running.
The Travis Mayer.
This is one of the things that Travis, this is what he's good at. He's good at pain type events, and that's what a chipper is you have to stay in that pain zone, and those that can stay in there the longest are going to do well, and he's very good at that. I think he really dials down that pain threshold to where he doesn't feel this kind of stuff. 7
of the 10 men in this heat are onto the wall ball. Now 8 as Noah Olson has gotten off the rower. Travis Mayer, your leader, though, as he got through about 11, 12 reps before anybody even joined him on these 80 wall balls. 203 scored repetitions, and Travis Mayer is through 37 of them. Lucas Hoegberg, the next closest man, but he's 12 reps back.
Travis just looks very confident. Now, we don't see him really dropping his hands, and I know that he just does hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wall ball reps in his training, so you can see him not really thinking about his hands. You can see Pat Vellner doing that big arm wave. And that's one of those things that you need to practice with that on a regular basis. I don't like that one, but I see a lot of athletes that they do. This kind of relaxes their arms.
Rasmus Anderson in lane 2. He has earned an invite as the member of a team, has not yet qualified as an individual, but most likely that he is going to the CrossFit Games on a team. Next to him on the left is Scott Panchik. He's already qualified as well after finishing 11th in the Worldwide Open. Travis Mayer, still your leader, through 62 of those 203 scored reps. And he's on the back half of the set of 80 wall balls.
And you can see he's actually changing that grip a little bit. He's bringing that ball to his shoulder, shooting it more like a basketball shot rather than a straight 2-arm wall ball. This allows him to stand up a little bit taller so he's not having to lean back and have all that weight on his back.
When his ticker hits 90, he will then move on to the 60 Ghd Situps. Cole Sager has overtaken Lucas Hogberg as the two of them trade second place. Willie George and Pat Vellner rounding out the top 5. Ben Smith is through 44, now 45 of those wall balls. So he has fallen off the lead pace. He was out front early on that row, but Ben Smith is falling back in the pack.
That's one of those things. If you go out too hard on the row, it doesn't help you. It always hurts you if you're not ready for it.
Travis Mayer onto the 60 GHDs, and we were there last year in West Palm at the regional where he just missed qualifying, and you could see how crushed he was. Came down to the final event there at the Atlantic Regional. And he's making a return trip this year, though, after finishing 15th in the Worldwide Open. Now, Cole Sager, Willie George, Pat Vellner, and Lucas Hogberg. They are all on the GHD sit-ups, and here comes Matt Fraser. He's in the gray shorts, upper left part of your screen. And Ben Smith is just done with his wall balls, and he will move on to the 60 GHDs. The number for Ben Smith that he's got to be thinking about right now is 13 minutes, 23.53 seconds. That's the mark that Chandler Smith put up in the prior heat, and that's the time that Ben Smith has got to beat if he wants to decrease that 94-point deficit.
And, you know, he's already about 30 seconds or so off that tempo that Chandler and Streat were running by the time they got to this. So he's already behind the ball, and I just don't see that snap, that angst to want to get going. I just don't see it. It just looks like he's really tired.
Ben Smith is definitely not moving at the same clip that Chandler Smith moved on this exact same movement in the prior heat. If you saw that, Chandler Smith just ripped through these repetitions. Travis Mayer is through now 125 of the 203 scored repetitions. After this, it's the 40 box jump overs, and they can't touch the box with their feet. They have to clear it.
You can see Travis taking his legs out of the stirrups, out of those hooks. It just gets, again, the blood back to the feet, blood back in the legs.
Cole Sager, meanwhile, is creeping up on Travis Mayer. This is the fight for the top of the standings on the overall leaderboard. As Pat Vellner on the right, first place overall with 190 points. Matt Fraser came in 30 points back. Sager has now overtaken Mayer for the lead. Cole Sager through 138 of the 203 repetitions. Vellner, meanwhile, is ahead of Matt Fraser. Vellner, he and Lucas Hogberg sit in second place. Mayer has fallen back to 4th, and Willie George is in 5th. Ben Smith, meanwhile, is through 36 of his 60 GHD sit-ups. Cole Sager will be off the GHD first. Now it's 40 box jump overs. Lucas Hogberg is in second. Here comes Vellner and Willie George. Willie George at the bottom of your screen. 12 minutes, 53.79 seconds. That is the time to beat, courtesy of Streat Hoerner in heat number 1.
Look at the way Pat Vellner is turning immediately and jumping right away. This is the same thing we saw in the Chaos event at the Games last year, and he made that big move on the box jumps there. Same idea, very rapid fire return on those box jumps. It's a very quick turn. Everyone else, they land, they walk around, they take a couple steps. One step out, he steps up and he goes.
And Lucas Hogberg on the left, basically employing the same technique. Now bottom left of your screen. As Cole Sager, blue shorts right side of your screen. First place in this heat, followed by Vellner, Hogberg, George, and now Scott Panchik.
Vellner taking that one step. It's really shortening the time that he's on the ground. Even with Hogberg down in the bottom left corner, he has that nice return, but he's taking 2-3 steps every single time. So while he steps out 2 more steps, Vellner turns and he's able to make another jump. So that's keeping Pat pushing towards that lead spot.
Cole Sager through 177 of the 203 repetitions, and now Matt Fraser creeping up and is even with Pat Vellner as he's passed. Fraser has Lucas Hogberg and now sits in 3rd place in this heat. Ben Smith The upper right part of your screen has just moved on to his box jump overs. So Ben Smith looks like he is going to surrender even more ground to Chandler Smith unless Ben Smith finds another gear here. Chandler Smith's time, 13 minutes, 23.53 seconds. Ben Smith threw 11 of those 40 repetitions. Now Cole Sager is chalking up his hands as he has to make 4 trips with those 53-pound kettlebells. He's got to lunge them. So 2 laps.
Now we saw Pat sit down on the box. Most people would be like, what are you doing? What are you talking? Why would you do that? He did that last year at the regionals, same thing, but had the world's fastest event time, and he sat down on the box. So I think he just kind of went into that same game plan of, I'm gonna let my legs rest, and then I'll lunge, because we're gonna use your legs. That's what he's doing, he's taking a little bit of tension off that body.
Cole Sager continues to lead. He'll be halfway through his lunge when he gets to the end of this trip. Pat Vellner is in second. Willie George on the bottom right of your screen, I'm moving out of the frame. He's in 5th place. Matt Fraser has overtaken Pat Vellner.
Let's see if he stops. He didn't stop on the last turnaround. Whoa!
So Streat Hoerner's gonna win the event. Now the question is, who wins this heat? As Matt Fraser has left Pat Vellner behind. Fraser going unbroken, and he's gonna chase down Cole Sager possibly, as the 2 of them are now tied with a no rep for Fraser for the 2nd straight event. And he'll have to redo this segment.
Hey, you know what, but that's really not that bad, because they were both resting. You saw Cole resting while Matt got moved back, and Matt forced to rest. Matt's able to turn and go for it, so that was Matt's rest time.
Well, Sager is about a section ahead of Fraser, but Fraser is moving at a decent clip here. Vellner now sits in 3rd place in this heat as Fraser's gonna rest. Sager is done, and he is in, and he will take the heat. 13:40.70 seconds. Ben Smith has not finished. He just mistakenly tripped his chip. Here comes Fraser. Fraser takes 2nd in the heat, and now Pat Vellner struggling to complete that lunge. They do give him credit for it, and he is across the finish line. He'll take 3rd in the heat. But this is tremendous news for Chandler Smith, who's going to earn 90 points for finishing 2nd in the event. Cole Sager, his time of 13:40.7 seconds is going to be good enough for 3rd, as now Willie George is across. Travis Mayer also finished. And here comes Ben Smith, and he is just halfway through his overhead walking lunge. Ben Smith is probably going to have to head to another sanction event in order to get that ticket to the CrossFit Games, because Chandler Smith is just running away with that invite as Noah Olson is across the finish line. Ben Smith back on the lunge. He's coming off a recent knee surgery that kept him from really giving his all in the open. That's why he's got to qualify through the sanction events now. There's Rasmus Anderson. He's halfway done with his lunge. Noah Olson there to cheer him on. And Ben Smith on his final trip down the floor. Smith is in and across the finish line.
Man, one of the hardest things for an athlete, high-level, competitive, successful athlete, is knowing that you're competing and you're not at your best. That's the worst. It's so hard mentally to deal with that, because you know what you should be able to do, and when it's not happening, it's the most frustrating thing ever.
Ben Smith will find himself in an even deeper hole after that performance, as the top 2 times come from the first heat, courtesy of Streat Hoerner, who gets the event win, and Chandler Smith will take second. Rasmus Anderson will close things out in the second and final heat of event 3, the chipper. Cole Sager takes the heat as he holds off Matt Fraser on the overhead walking lunge. And Sager looks to leapfrog Fraser and move into second place overall in the standings.
And what I love about Cole Sager, the most amazing thing about him is he always runs his race. It doesn't matter if he wins or loses, he's got his plan and he follows through it. So we saw athletes coming out hot. Travis Mayer, first off the row, hammered through the wall balls, first off the wall balls. And Cole was in the mix, but just kind of hanging out. He made his move on the GHD and then just really was putting it down on those box jump overs. You saw how much of an effect it had on people's legs. But Cole looked great. It looked like he was starting to shut down as Matt and Pat Vellner were trying to get in the mix there. I thought Matt was going to make that run for the push at the end. We saw him not wanting to take any breaks at all and just keep on pushing. There was that little issue right there where he got the no rep. I don't think that was bad. It's a little frustrating for sure, but that was the rest time. He got to take a little bit of a rest. He couldn't catch Cole, but Cole just did his thing, kept his tempo, and man, went all the way to the end and got another, heat win. But great finish for Cole Sager. He impresses me every single time.
Here are your results for the third of 8 scored events at the Rogue Invitational. As Streat Hoerner gets the event win, Chandler Smith will earn 90 points, and Cole Sager finishes third. He earns 80 points, and he is with Rory McKernan.
Be patient there at the beginning, right? You made your move on the GHD and then really pulled ahead on the box jumps. Was it hard to keep that patience?
I have so much respect for all the competitors in this field. They're amazing athletes. So really what I wanted to get to is just giving myself a chance. And so it was there just early on, just like stay in the race, give yourself a chance, and then see what you got.
Now you've been in a lot of stadiums. This is a unique atmosphere, obviously. Could you feel it when those guys were trying to track you down there at the end, and how did that push you on?
Man, this crowd is electric. I'm having so much fun here. You guys were awesome, good job. And you guys really just kind of kept me through the finish of the race. You let me know where they were, so thanks for that, I appreciate it.
All right, the crowd pulling along Cole Sager. Ladies and gentlemen, Cole Sager.
Cole Sager won't win the event, but he will win the heat. Streat Hoerner and Chandler Smith put up the top times. The men are done in event 3. The women coming up next at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. Day 1 of competition at the 2019 Rogue Invitational rolls on here in Columbus, Ohio. We appreciate you being with us here today, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Bill Grundler, and Rory McKernan is on the competition floor. If you were with us earlier in the day, we mentioned that 13 of the 16 CrossFit Games champions are competing here in this event. We actually have 14 total in the building, but one of them is not competing, and that's because she is running this whole event. Let's send it down to Rory McKernan with the 2008 Women's CrossFit Games champion, Ghd Henderson.
You know, Sean, that's a fantastic point. A legend in her own right as an athlete, also legendary as a co-owner of Rogue Fitness. And Katie, last time I was here, it was for an open announcement. This was impressive, but it was still just kind of a corner of the warehouse that we turned into a competition floor. This is a world-class stadium. What did it take to change this into this, what we see now?
Oh man, a lot of people. You know, we're still running production here, so we built an outdoor stadium and this indoor arena that turned out to be awesome. It's super loud in here, but it's taken all 600 of us, that's how many employees we have here, to pull this thing off.
Now, there's a difference between providing the equipment and the logistics as you guys have done in the past and running an event. What are the biggest differences?
Oh, there's so many little things that go into this. You know, when we're focused on just the equipment, it's a very narrowed focus, and now you have scoring, you have volunteers. I mean, you kind of have the whole gamut, so it's been a big chunk to bite off, but hopefully at the end of the weekend we're pretty successful.
I know that you'll never talk to me on camera after I ask you this question. I'm putting you on the spot. I'm going to start a petition to get you in the Legends competition. What's it going to take?
Someone's got to run the event right here, Ro.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you, Row. And I know that there is already an effort underway to get her in one of the events. This is where we stand in the women's competition as Annie Thorisdottir and Tia Toomey are tied atop the overall standings at 172 points. Sara Sigmundsdottir sits in third. There's Brooke Wells and Kristen Holton. Margot Alvarez is the highest non-qualifier on the leaderboard with 48 points, but she has said she would not accept the invite from this event, so it means that Lauren Seaver in 13th place with 38 points would stand to get that invite, and there are a lot of women who can easily overtake her in this event. Event 3 is the chipper, 25-minute time cap, and there is a whole bunch of work here.
Well, we saw what it did to the guys. It was smashing them from the hips down, so we're gonna see the exact same thing here with the ladies. Start off with that big row. Gonna have to make sure they pace that out right. We get into wall ball, blow your legs out. GHC, you think it's stomach, but it's not. It's gonna be your legs. And then those box jump overs, and I think that's a unique thing. We haven't really had that where you have to jump all the way over the width of that box to get to the other side. So it's a fun one to watch. A lot of work to be had.
We mentioned the race for that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games, and assuming that Margot Alvarez turns it down, that means that Lauren Seaver in lane 2, she is the one wearing the big target on her back right now.
You know, she really is, but this is how crazy this event is. Lauren Seaver has a 10th place finish and a 17th place finish, and we're looking at her at being one of the people that's gonna make it to the games. That shows the level of athletes that are at this particular event, and you're right, man, she's going for it, and I think it's really fun to see someone with a target on them like that in her.
100 calories on the rower, 203 scored repetitions in this event. They will get 1 rep for every 10 calories that they complete.
Yeah, starting off on that row, we saw the guys, actually both heats of the guys were very smart about relaxing. So I want to see these women do the exact same thing. It's not about winning the row, it's about tempoing your leg use through all of the reps that we have here. Every element is a blast on the leg, so you got to make sure you're very smart about how hard you push them and make sure that they can recover. The other part is going to be the mental landmines. A lot of work, a lot of chances to get no reps, making sure that you play your game. We saw how it worked for Cole Sager. These women have to do the same thing. Stay in your lane, stick to your plan, stay away from everyone else's plan.
Rachel Garibay, who is the only woman in this heat to have any games experience whatsoever, was at the CrossFit Games last year as a member of Team Don't Stop, helped that team finish in 6th place, and she's looking to get herself back up the overall standings right now, 33 points. Pardon me, 20 points, I should say. So 20 points for Rachel Garibay. So she is 18 points back of Lauren Seaver. That is Lauren Seaver.
And one of the things you see Lauren do as she pops into the screen, that her eyes are closed on this row. She's just trying to relax. She understands that there's a lot of work to be done. So you just have to find the tempo and just kind of get into the rhythm. Just find that rhythm.
The common theme that we saw with the men, you're first off the rower, you were not first across the finish line.
Isn't that like that in every event, unless it's a rowing only event? No one ever wants to be the first one off the rower. I don't want to be the first one off the rower.
If that ever happens, I look around and said,
I messed up.
I've made a terrible choice.
That was bad.
Karine Shrum is through 40 of the 100 calories. Again, they get a rep for every 10 that they complete, so she's working on completing 50 right now. Lauren Seaver is right next to her. Now Shrum is right next to Seaver on the floor, and she has got to chase down Seaver in this event if she wants to cut into her lead.
Look at that rowing technique. That's beautiful rowing technique. Arms are nice and straight. Good pull out. She doesn't bend her knees on the recovery until that handle passes her knees. Very efficient row, and I think any other rower that's going to be out there would be like, oh yeah, that looks like someone that's got some rowing experience. Plus she's a little taller, so I think that's really going to play to her favor, especially when we get to the wall balls.
Lauren Seaver on the right. Karine Shrum on the left. I'm sorry, it's Seaver on the left, Shrum on the right. And again, assuming that Margot Alvarez turns down the invite, we don't know how this is going to end up, but right now, Margot Alvarez is your top non-qualifier in the overall standings, but she has said that she would not accept the invite to the CrossFit Games. That would pass to Lauren Seaver. She's on the left of your screen. But her points margin is slim over the women chasing her. Shrum is just 6 points back of her, and that is easy to make up in one event with this point system. Remember, there's a 10-point difference between first, second, and third. That's much different than we see at the games where it's only 6 points. So you can make up a ton of ground in one event.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you have the opportunity to go big, you need to go big and get those points. It's going to play to your favor to do so.
Dani Speegle is on the right of your screen. She is one of the 4 women in this heat who have already qualified for the CrossFit Games. Here are the standings amongst the women who are looking to earn that invite, as it's Margot Alvarez in 11th place, but she has said that she would decline the invite. So Lauren Seaver at 38 points with a 6-point cushion over Karine Shrum. Rachel Garibay also within striking distance, and Henderson, Lahane, and Matarazzo are certainly not out of this thing, but they have to start racking up some points here in these upcoming events.
I'll tell you, it's just crazy to me to think that basically it's a 5-person competition, 6-person competition. So you come to this big event with all these names and it really comes down to a 6-person event.
Like we were talking about with Chandler Smith in the prior heat, you should take a look at Dani Speegle, who is your U.S. national champion out of the Open. Seaver just needs to worry about the women that we just showed you on that standing graphic. Doesn't need to worry about Thorisdottir and Sigmundsdottir and Toomey and that whole crew. Just worry about this.
And that's a really unique strategy to be thinking. And hopefully the coaches for those 5 ladies have said, I don't care where anybody else is. These are the people you need to stay ahead of. Those are the only people you put your eye on.
Dani Speegle is the first athlete on those 80 wall ball shots, as Ghd Situps has come to just about the end of her row. But it's Dani Speegle all by herself on the 80 wall balls. Judges' hands are in the air as their athletes get set to finish up the row. And in lane number 2, that is Lauren Seaver on the far side of the floor. And Karine Shrum is also on the wall balls. Lane 6, Brooke Haas. She's right in the middle of your screen in the black top and blue shorts. Another athlete who has already qualified, Rachel Garibay. Trying to move up the overall standings. Garibay with 20 points, and she can certainly find herself in the lead for that invite after this event. Approaching the 7-minute mark. This is the 3rd of 8 scored events for the individuals. They have 1 more remaining this evening inside here, and then 4 more tomorrow. Spiegel now halfway through her 80 wall balls. Shrum, Seaver, Haas, and Trombetta in the top 5.
And again, all these ladies are shooting to that 10-foot box, which forces some of these shorter women to have to jump, and that takes a lot of extra energy. We saw all the way over in lane 10, Rachel Garibay was having a big jump on every single rep. Look at that big jump, and she's doing that arm swing as well. So that's a lot of extra work she's doing. Anytime you have to move anything extra, it's taking energy away. Even though I get that I'm swinging my arm trying to get some blood back in those fingertips, but that's look at doing jumping jacks on every single rep on top of wall balls.
Garibay is listed at just 5 foot 1 inch, so these first 2 movements are certainly not ones that she enjoys, rowing and then wall balls. But we'll see how she handles the back half of this event. Although those box jump overs may be a problem for her as well. But it's Dani Speegle, blue shorts right of your screen. She is your leader. Karine Shrum and Lauren Seaver. And second and third is Shrum is starting to overtake Seaver a little bit. And remember, Shrum is just 6 points back of Siva. That can easily be made up in this event. Spiegel is done with her 80 wall balls, and she will now move on to the 60 GHD sit-ups. Spiegel getting right to work. Through 91 of the 203 scored repetitions.
Now, I don't know if you guys are seeing this at home, but there's a whole lot of ponytail whip in the face. I think if I don't know what would be more annoying, the actual having to sit up 60 times with that GHD or getting whipped in the face every single time you did that.
Does not seem to be slowing down Dani Speegle as she is leaving the rest of this opening heat behind her, and now Karine Shrum has moved on to the GHDs. Good news for her as she looks to overtake Lauren Siever.
Ooh, look at the tempo of Shrum. Wow. And again, look at the way she's slamming her knees down. When she sits up, her knees drop. That really pulls her hip flexors into the movement just as much as the abs. So she's using her entire midline, not just the center of her abs.
At 150, she will move on to the box jump overs. The good news for Shrum is now that Fee Sagafi and Ghd Situps have gotten between her and Lauren Siever, so that's more points that Shrum can pick up here, as Sagafi and Situps have already qualified for the CrossFit Games. Now Siever, top of your screen in the gray top, she is on to the GHDs. Lane 1, Holly Henderson, another woman trying to earn that invite from the 2019 Rogue Invitational. She's getting into the GHD. But it's Dani Speegle, who is through 131 and counting, but now Holly Henderson is going back to move her rower. The athletes have to do that once they're done with the wall ball in order to give themselves enough space to complete those repetitions. So now, Henderson on the GHDs. Holly Henderson, an athlete who's made 3 appearances at the regionals. Most successful one was in 2014 when she was 21st at the South Central Regional before the regional format was combined. Spiegel on her final few GHDs, and then she will move on to the box jump overs. Past the 11-minute mark here of the 3rd of 8 scored events, the 2019 Rogue Invitational. And she is done. Same story for the women as it was with the men. You cannot touch the top of the box with your feet. You have to clear it on every jump.
And just knowing that you have to have such a dynamic movement after that long, slow setup with the wall balls and the GHD, that first probably 5 jumps over that box are going to be tough. Your body has to adjust to that change. So you see everyone take that first jump, and it's kind of like oh, okay, now we can play. You get a couple jumps in, and then they start to find that tempo.
Fee Sagafi in the red. She was on the right of your screen. She is now on to the box jump over, so she is in 2nd place in this heat. Karine Shrum is on the left. She is on the box jump overs as well. Lauren Siever still on the GHDs. These are your top 3. Only one of them has yet to earn an invite to the CrossFit Games. That's Karine Shrum in the all black, farthest from the camera at the end of the floor. 167, now 168 of the 203 scored repetitions down for Dani Speegle.
Dani Speagle's looking great. I thought she was going to slow down, or looked like she was slowing down a little bit, but she had enough of a tempo that she's trying to pull those other athletes, and they're the ones that are starting to break. They want to chase. They get a couple reps in, and then you can see them really slowing and laboring as they turn around to make that next jump.
That's Rachel Garibay throwing herself up and over that box. Garibay has now moved into 4th place in this heat as we are past the 13-minute mark. Brooke Haas on the right of your screen on her set of 40 box jump overs. After this, it's the 96-foot overhead walking lunge with those kettlebells held aloft, and then a final sprint across the finish line. Shrum taking a break. Doesn't really need to worry about tracking down Dani Speegle and Sagaffi, but she's well ahead of Lauren Seaver, the woman she's trying to overtake in the standings. Spiegel is finished with her box jump overs, and now 96 feet on the overhead walking lunge. 2 35-pound kettlebells held over her head. 2 complete laps. She get a repetition for every section of the floor that she completes. She will immediately turn around.
Wow.
As Karine Shrum has now moved into 2nd place. This is huge for her. Spiegel halfway done. And will not rest as she immediately turns and gets back to work.
Wow, huge difference between Shrum and Spiegel, just on the confidence on those overhead walking lunges. Dani is just so strong. Look at that.
Spiegel turns and goes again. This is her final trip down the floor. So Dani Speegle looking to win the heat and take the top time into the 2nd and final heat. Dani Speegle, kettlebells are down, and she is across, and she will win heat number 1, 15:24.63 seconds.
Wow.
Sagaffi is now trying to move into 2nd place in this heat past Karine Shrum, who has not finished. She may have accidentally tripped her timing chip. She has 1 more lap remaining. And now those kettlebells are up and over her head, and she will get started on her final lap.
Karine looks a lot more confident. Yeah, again, it's just her body trying to get used to what's happening. That first lap down and back, she was just all over the place. Looks much more confident, even though this is the 2nd time down and back. Found that rhythm.
The good news for Karine Shrum is that she is well ahead of Lauren Seaver and likely to overtake her here in the overall standings. And she is in 15, make that 16, 28.43 seconds. And now Karine needs to watch as Sagaffi and Brooke Haas, who's on the right of your screen, if they can finish ahead of Lauren Seaver, that is great news for Shrum. If they receive a no rep or rest, they have got to go back to the last solid line that they passed. So Sagaffi moves behind that line and then will restart. She is halfway through now. And Sagaffi is in. That was Ghd Situps who is halfway through. Rachel Garibay is across the finish line as well. She's at the far end of the floor. Ghd Situps is your leader on the floor. Now Lauren Seaver just makes her first turn with the kettlebells. So the race for that invite to the CrossFit Games is going to look a little bit different heading into the 4th and final event of the day. And Lauren Seaver is going to lose that spot. Seaver and Haas getting set for their final lap. Here comes Ghd Situps. Trombetta is in. 18:10.37 seconds for Trombetta. "90 seconds to go before we hit that 20-minute time cap, and Lauren Seaver is just getting herself across the finish line. And she'll have some work to do to regain that spot that will receive the invite from the 2019 Rogue Invitational. Colleen Lehane is in. Brooke Haas, Nikki Matarazzo, and Holly Henderson are left on the floor as now Brooke Haas is across the finish line. So it's Henderson and Matarazzo, the last two athletes on the competition floor. Holly Henderson will make it inside the 20-minute time cap. Nikki Matarazzo now the only athlete left on the floor, and she has 15 seconds to go before we hit the 20-minute time cap. It doesn't look like she's going to be able to make the trip back down and get herself across the finish line. That's your time cap. 9 of the 10 women in this opening heat are able to finish the chipper inside that 20-minute allotted time. Dani Speegle does it the quickest, 15 minutes, 24.63 seconds.
And Dani honestly just dominated all the way through. So I thought, we knew she was a strong rower, but I was really looking at the battle between Shrum and Seaver. But first off the row, even though the other two women were rowing great, was Dani Speegle. And once she got out into the front, she just held that position. Now again, I thought Shrum was going to be able to pick it up in the GHD because look at the tempo difference between her and Spiegel, but it just wasn't enough. She'd go a fast 10 and then slow down. Dani just kept her tempo all the way through. Great on the box jump overs, and even though she had just enough of a tempo, she pulled the other two women out and basically put them out of their comfort zone, and it dusted them there at that point. Dani just picked up those kettlebells, lunged her way all the way down and back, didn't stop. Obviously, the 35-pound kettlebells were no issue for her at all. Just dominated that segment of the event and just, man, kicked the door down, said, hey, I want this one. This one's mine.
Dani Speegle had a great open U.S. national champion. She's looked impressive at some of these sanctioned events, and she continues to look good here. Solid performance in the last event. Right now, the time to beat, 15:24.63 seconds, and send it down to the competition floor with Rory McKernan.
All right, Karine, I saw you looking around like we talked about. What were you doing there, gauging the competition in the heat?
I was trying to see where everyone else was on the dance floor, on the floor, to see where I could make up time. From there, I knew where I had to step up my game and kind of speed it up a bit. I knew Dani was on the left of me, so she is like, she's right up there with me, so I knew I had to push her and kind of try to pass her at the same time.
Okay, of course, there's two races here going on, and one is just for the ticket to the games. Right now, it looks like you're in the driver's seat for that. What would it mean to get to the CrossFit Games for you?
It would actually mean a lot to me. I've been competing for 6 years now, so getting my first ticket to the game would mean the world. I have family here and really good friends, so it would mean a lot to everyone.
We got a great start going. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Row. Karine Shrum looking to move herself up the standings and into a position to earn that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Second heat up next, and only one woman in this heat has yet to qualify, and that's Margot Alvarez. She's in lane number 1. Focus on the battle for the event win, and right now it's Annie Thorisdottir who is tied with Kristen Holta. 172 points each.
And man, you talk about the whole legend thing. She is there by name. As long as she's been here, and the fact that she still can compete, it's unreal.
Two-time CrossFit Games champion. She's been on the podium, including those championships, 5 times in her career at the CrossFit Games. The been at the games every year since 2009, except for 2013 when an injury kept her out of competition.
Now, just like in the other heats, we saw that this is about the legs, so you need to make sure you find that tempo, know exactly how hard to push, because it's a long event. You don't want to put yourself into any sort of a pain cave too early. The other part's that mental landmine. We see all the time athletes breaking if they push too hard or if they start playing someone else's game. All these athletes on the floor right now are very experienced, so I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of that. Keep that mindset and keep on pushing.
Tia Toomey looking to become the first woman to ever win 3 CrossFit Games championships. She's won the last 2, and she is next to a woman who is also looking to win 3, Catherine Davidsdottir and Annie Thorisdottir, all with 2 CrossFit Games championships. But Tia Toomey, as dominant as she was last season, it's going to take a lot to stop her this year.
I mean, we say it all the time, momentum is massive, because when you have a great athlete that is also a confident athlete, it takes a lot to slow that athlete down. I just don't think that there's anyone out there that has the mental fortitude that she, or is in the place that she is right now.
3 CrossFit Games champions in this heat. Here's a look at all of them who are competing this weekend. The 3 of them are in this heat. Camille Leblanc-Bazinet, she's in the team competition. She won in 2014. Sam Briggs is in the Legends competition, as are Kristen Clever and Tanya Wagner.
Now, we talked about, you know, all those great names that are up there, and Catherine's right there in the center of your screen, the blonde hair. The fact that she is in the position that she's in right now, she's in 7th place overall, and I think if you're looking at just the pure points, most people would be really concerned about that. Now, we know that she's got her spot to the game, her invite to the games already. I think that for her, she has to know that it's okay, and if I was like her coach, Ben Bergeron, I'd be saying, hey, don't worry about this one. Your job right now, this is a training day, and you're just lining yourself up on the floor with the rest of these ladies to see where you are, how your strengths are doing, how your weaknesses are doing, and use the data there for the big day, which is going to be the game. So even though she's not in the position she wants to be in, I'm sure she's all right. And I think she needs to use that for that knowledge sake.
Laura Horvath is in lane 4. She currently sits in 6th place overall. Last year, as a rookie at the CrossFit Games, she finished 2nd. She's the Hungarian national champion out of the Open, so she is going to the CrossFit Games. But so far, has not been the athlete that we saw last year in Madison.
You're right, and you know, and she looks so good at Madison, and then when you have someone that has such a breakout. I mean, we've seen her build her way to that. There was last year's games was such a breakout, so we were expecting to see that again. Now, if you look at the training cycle that she's on and that she needs to be on, she doesn't have to do and be her top game right now. She's not peaking for this event. She's trying to peak for the game. She already made it in, being the Hungarian national champion, so she doesn't need to win here, but she's a young athlete. I just want to make sure that confidence-wise, she's going to be okay when she gets to the big ones.
Kristen Holta is in 5th place overall. She's 44 points back of Thorisdottir and Toomey. And the last 2 years of the CrossFit Games, she's finished 7th.
Very, very consistent. I think the only thing that's really keeping her out of those top spots are like those strength type events. Her endurance base is just unreal. I think this is going to be a great event for her as well. I mean, it's not anything that's going to be real heavy, so she gets to push the envelope there. But I think it's just those 1 or 2 little things that's keeping her off that podium.
Speaking of the podium, that's where Sara Sigmundsdottir is trying to get back to. She was there the first 2 years she competed at the CrossFit Games. Back-to-back 3rd place finishes. But then last year, 37th overall because she had to withdraw because of an injury. She is on the warpath here so far in 2019.
And she really has been. I mean, there's been a big turnaround as far as a change in mindset of what she needs to do and the goals that she has. I mean, she always wants to win, but now it's like, okay, I'm ready to get back up there. And you can tell just in her focus, she's a totally different athlete this year than she was last year.
Sara Sigmundsdottir currently sits in 3rd place overall. She's only 12 points back of Annie Thorisdottir on the right, who is tied for the points lead in this event with Tia Toomey.
It's amazing to me that Annie is still as good as she is. I mean, when they talked to Row, when she talked to Row earlier after her event win in that last event, and her answer to that was, I still want to win. I want to win so bad. That's what a champion is all about. Like that's what they see. It doesn't matter how many times they've done it. They always want to put it out there, and that's what she is. So the fact she's out there killing it with these other ladies, it's astounding.
Thorisdottir will be the first woman off the rower. She completes her 100 calories, and now it's the 80 wall balls. Laura Horvath and Catherine Davidsdottir right behind her, Sara Sigmundsdottir. She is also done with the 100 calories and right to work on her 80 wall balls. Dani Thorisdottir is on the right, Catherine Davidsdottir is on the left. And it's Thorisdottir who is through 16 of those 80 wall balls, 203 total scored repetitions, and a no rep there for Davidsdottir. Looked like her ball didn't hit the target.
But you see the way she just kept on going? That's what those mental landmines I was talking about. She didn't let it slow her down at all.
Carrie Pierce, lane 3, working on her wall balls. Now is Laura Horvath with a good pace on these wall balls. It's just a rep behind Dani Thorisdottir. Tia Toomey in lane 5, left of your screen. Good clip for her. Time to beat belongs to Dani Speegle, 15 minutes, 24.63 seconds. She put that up in heat number 1. Sigmundsdottir trying to hold off Davidsdottir for 3rd place right now in this heat as Laura Horvath is nipping at Dani Thorisdottir's heels. Ooh.
Yeah, Laura just looks strong in this position. Look, she really hasn't moved around. You see some of the other ladies adjusting all the time, and she's just perfect setup. Every single rep looks identical.
Meanwhile, Carrie Pierce, who's listed at 5'3", and we saw this earlier with some of the shorter athletes having to jump on her wall ball. She's now taking a quick break. She's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Her feet are actually leaving the ground. Dani Thorisdottir taking a break with now 18 to go. Sara Sigmundsdottir has moved ahead of Horvath. Sigmundsdottir and Thorisdottir neck and neck now for the lead. Horvath in 3rd, Davidsdottir, Wells, and Toomey are all fighting for 4th right now. Davidsdottir bottom left, she is taking a break as Dani Thorisdottir with 3 reps to go.
And even though Catherine in lane 6 is trying to hold to her pace, it looks like she's fighting it a little bit. A little more than I expect her to fight like that.
Dani Thorisdottir, Sara Sigmundsdottir at the same time to the GHD. And Sigmundsdottir getting to work just ahead of Thorisdottir. 60 repetitions here. At 150, they move on to the box jump overs.
Wow, that tempo of Sara right there in the front. You can see Annie just off to the left. Look how much faster Sarah's going. Now here's the thing, we know we're in a race, and I saw the second that they sat up on those, when they sat up on those GHDs, the first thing that Sara did was look over to see where Annie was.
Tia Toomey, Laura Horvath, and Krista Holter are now getting set to start their GHDs as Toomey and Horvath, top of your screen. Horvath's in the all black. Next to her is Tia Toomey. Now Catherine Davidsdottir in the blue shorts. She is onto the GHD. Kristen Holter in the pink top. Now here comes Brooke Wells. With Sara Sigmundsdottir, who continues to lead. She's about 3 reps ahead of Dani Thorisdottir. 2 movements remain after this. At the 150 mark, they will move on to the box jump overs. They'll complete 40 repetitions there. As Dani Thorisdottir continues to move at a good clip as she tries to keep Sara within striking distance here. Sigmundsdottir coming into this event just 12 points behind both Dani Thorisdottir and Tia Toomey in the standings. 10-minute mark. Again, the time to beat belongs to Dani Speegle, 15 minutes, 24.63 seconds. And Sara Sigmundsdottir has yet to take a break on these GHDs, and she is just about done. 1 to go for Sigmundsdottir.
Wow.
She is done. Wow. Sara Sigmundsdottir moving on to the box jump overs as she has moved ahead of Annie Thorisdottir, and Sigmundsdottir, no break, right to work.
That was impressive. I haven't seen, even on the guys' side, anyone go straight through from the wall ball through those GHDs the way she attacked that. That was amazing.
And if Sara keeps this pace, she's going to keep ahead of Annie, as Annie's taking a longer break between repetitions. .190 is the mark that Sigmundsdottir needs to hit before she'll move on to the 96-foot overhead walking lunge. Now Tia Toomey, who's moved into third place ahead of Laura Horvath.
And there's that fast turnaround. She basically steps out one time and turns. I've seen some of the other ladies, they want to get a little bit of a jump into it. Tia looked like she was only stepping out one time. I'm starting to see her hang out a little bit. There was a nice fast turn by Tia.
Meanwhile, Sara Sigmundsdottir has been able to hold about a 10-rep lead over Annie Thorisdottir here. Sigmundsdottir more than halfway through these 40 repetitions. She has 27 done, 13 to go. Laura Horvath now moving on to the box jump overs. But Sara Sigmundsdottir is your leader. Now 8 reps to go on these box jump overs, and she has kept a pretty frantic pace here. And well ahead of Dani Speegle's pace, 15:24.63 seconds, the time to beat. One more rep.
Wow.
And about 1:45 faster than Dani Speegle. Sara Sigmundsdottir right now is dialed in, right to work on the overhead walking lunges.
And that's what I was talking about Sara before, how she just seems like a much different athlete this year. It's not, I want to do well and I want to compete and yeah, I'm pushing and blah, blah, blah. It's like a dead focus. I mean, usually when you think of Sara Sigmundsdottir, you think of that big smile. I don't see that on her face right now. It's like she's all business. And if you want to compete, you want to get yourself in there and do what you want to do with those high lofty goals, you've got to be that kind of laser focused.
Sara Sigmundsdottir has changed coaches. She's changed locations. She's now has her own gym. She's always been changing things up. It looks like whatever combination she has right now is working, as Sara Sigmundsdottir has yet to break on this overhead walking lunge, and she is looking to run away with this event. Sigmundsdottir just with one trip remaining. Tia Toomey is getting set to move on to the overhead walking lunge as she is on her first trip down the floor, but Sara Sigmundsdottir is going to demolish the time to beat. And there is a new Sara on the block. Sara Sigmundsdottir wins event 3.
I still, look at that. I haven't even seen the smile yet. That's like, I'm here to do work. I'm here to do business. Man, that was awesome.
Here comes Tia Toomey, who is now in second place. Sigmundsdottir is going to lock up 100 points. If Toomey finishes second, she'll get 90. But things are going to get pretty interesting at the top of the overall standings, as Sigmundsdottir was just 12 points back at Toomey and Thorisdottir. Tia Toomey may be in the lead all by herself, but barely after this event. Toomey is done and she is in, and she will take second in the event, and she will earn 90 points in the process. Third place now worth 80 points. And it's Annie Thorisdottir who is just ahead of Katrin Davidsdottir for that spot as Thorisdottir makes the turn on her overhead walking lunge. Final length for Thorisdottir. Thorisdottir is in. She will take third, 80 points. But she will drop in the overall standings and most likely sit in 3rd place overall after this event.
Man, I tell you what, she hung up there though, and I think she just went for the race and just it kind of put her under. That was a little bit too much.
Kristen Holta gets across the finish line. Here comes Brooke Wells. She's got one more lap. Davidsdottir is your leader on the floor, and she's just about done with her final length on this overhead walking lunge. Davidsdottir will take 6th in the event as Christy Aramo is also in. 7th place in the event for Aramo. Laura Horvath is now your leader on the floor as Brooke Wells is overtaken her. Horvath has yet to start her final trip down the floor, so Brooke Wells is going to get in ahead of Laura Horvath. Wells is in. 16 minutes, 17.26 seconds. 7th place in the event as now Laura Horvath is in. That'll be good enough for 9th place in the event. Now Carrie Pierce accidentally tripped her timing chip, so she's still out there.
Struggling to keep those arms straight. You gotta remember, if those arms aren't locked out, then your shoulders and your triceps are carrying all that weight. You want to lock those out on those joints as much as possible.
And now a no rep for Pierce. Pierce is getting a no rep. She's got to go back to that last solid line and start over. Less than 3 minutes to go before we hit the 20-minute time cap. Pierce is in.
There she goes.
Margot Alvarez is the only woman, along with Christy Aramo, on the floor. Here comes Margot Alvarez on her final length down the floor. As she and Christy Aramo now looking to get in inside of that 20-minute time cap. Alvarez is done, and she will get in well inside the 20-minute time cap to close out her 3rd event. Christy Aramo, the last woman on the floor. It is jam-packed in here at Rogue Fitness headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. Been a fantastic crowd all day long from the start of the day when we kicked things off with a team competition outside to now as we've moved inside. A fantastic atmosphere here. And the crowd will bring Christy Aramo across the finish line. And that'll do it for the 2nd and final heat of event 3. Sara Sigmundsdottir, your event winner. Meet the new Sara, definitely not the same as the old Sara.
Now, we came out and we had all kinds of champions going for it, and look at the way Annie just started. She came out very strong. And, she just said she wanted to win, and then we saw her really going for it. Katrin right next to her on the wall balls. Katrin looked like she was getting a little bit messed up. A couple bumps on the wall ball, got a no rep in there, slowed her down. We saw Sara Sigmundsdottir really make her way all the way through those wall balls, looked very confident. But what was most impressive is when Sara and Annie moved to the GHDs. Sara went unbroken on those GHD. She never slowed down. She just moved like a dang machine all the way through that, and that face right there that you see on the screen, that's the way she held it the entire race. She meant business. She got off that GHD, slammed those jumps, no problem at all. Nobody could catch her. And then once she grabbed those dumbbells, or those kettlebells, it was all over. I mean, she went to work and showed everyone that she's not here to play. she's here to perform, and she did.
Sara Sigmundsdottir, 100 points, the event win, and she gets to talk to Rory McKernan. But here's a look at your final results as Sigmundsdottir sub 14, nearly 50 seconds faster than Tia Toomey. Annie Thorisdottir will finish in third, followed by Kristen Holte, and Dani Speegle's top time is good enough for 5th place in the event. Margot Alvarez, who had the top spot as far as the non-qualifiers are concerned, she finishes 13th. So that means Karine Shrum is going to be the woman who now hangs on to that invite. But plenty of work still remaining here. Let's go down to the competition floor. Rory McKernan with your event winner, Sara Sigmundsdottir.
All right, Sara, I love to see you smiling now, but on the competition floor, it was pointed out you looked more business-like than usual. How is your mental approach different than it has been in the past?
My beast mode is back. Let's say that.
All right, they like it here at the Rogue Invitational, and you said you're just getting started. Tell me what you meant.
Yeah, I'm just getting started. This is just a warm-up for the games, right?
You've done 3 other sanctional events, but this, you said, feels like the largest one so far, and it was a heartbreak for us fans to see you withdraw from the games last year. But how does this set you up going into the games? How do you feel?
I made a goal after the games that I would have the biggest comeback, so I think I'm coming back now. So this is.
All right, if you're just getting started, we can't wait to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, Sara Sigmundsdottir.
Here are your standings now after 3 events, with 1 event remaining on the day. For tomorrow, it's Tia Toomey by 2 points over Sara Sigmundsdottir. Annie Thorisdottir drops into 3rd place. Kristen Holte and Brooke Wells rounding out the top 5. Catherine Davidsdottir, Lauren Horvath looking to punch their way in the next event. Karine Shrum, 76 points right now. That invite to Madison would be hers, but she does not have a comfortable cushion whatsoever. So a lot still to be decided here in the women's competition for both the event itself and the invite. 3 events down, we'll have more from Columbus, Ohio and Rogue HQ after this quick break.
My goal is to be the best version of myself, whether that's with my workout, my friendships, my mind, or my nutrition. I try to give my best to every area of my life, every single day. We all have something that we strive to be, And I feel like it's not about where you are, it's about how you get there. Zevia, live your best.
The 2019 Rogue Invitational is presented by Reebok. Reebok's newest Sport the Unexpected campaign celebrates those who defy convention and challenge the status quo. Visit Reebok.com to shop the latest collection. And by Rogue, strength and conditioning equipment that's built to last. The 2019 Rogue Invitational continues. It's been a great day one so far. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I am Sean Woodland with Bill Grundler. Rory McKernan is on the competition floor here at Rogue HQ as we get set for the third and final event of the day for the teams. It is the Chipper. Here are your standings after two events. CrossFit OC3, they have been perfect so far, winning events 1 and 2. CrossFit Mayhem Independence, they are the team trying to chase them down. They are 64 points back. One invite to the CrossFit Games on the line here. The Team Chipper is a 25-minute time cap. The majority of this work is shared except for those final 10 snatches. But Bill, you think this one comes down to those box jump overs?
I really think it does, and not because the box jump over is difficult. It's about the timing. It's 50 box jump overs, and you want to decrease the amount of time as much as possible. We saw what that did in the individuals. The team that has that fast turnaround and immediate jump over, they're going to make up a ton of time, and that's going to really help them win their event.
Let's send it down to Rory McKernan, who is on the competition floor.
Thanks, Sean. I'm standing here underneath the ring, set to 96 inches, which is the standard for men. So it'll be interesting to see how the teams get their women onto those muscle-up rings if they need assistance for that. It's going to be part of the strategy that plays in here on these male-female pairs.
Thank you, Ro, and they will be working in mixed pairs. One pair will go, and then the next pair will go after that. They will all complete the same amount of repetitions. Lane assignments. CrossFit OC3, they're your overall leaders, 200 points out of a possible 200. They will try to hold off CrossFit Mayhem Independence. They look to join CrossFit Mayhem Freedom at the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games. Mayhem Freedom earning the invite from the Asia CrossFit Championship a couple weeks ago. We are underway. As we look at Royce Dunn for Mayhem Independence. Camille Leblanc-Bazinet for Ramwad Witt will be up first. And we know that she can crank through some muscle-ups.
We've seen her do all kinds of muscle-ups and have that, overall gymnastic background is going to be a big deal. But again, I really think it comes down to those box jump overs. You got to get over it and you got to do it quickly. All these movements, you have to keep yourselves moving, but I think, like I said earlier, that box is going to be an important deal. Then it's fastest first. You want to put your fastest pair out in front because the way you get your second pair out onto the floor is the team that gets through their the thrusters, then you can get that second pair out there. So you want to make sure they get out there, they're not blocking anybody out.
CrossFit OC3, Taylor Williamson on the rings for her team. As right now they are in the driver's seat for both the event win and that invite to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games, on top of the overall standings after winning both events outside. CrossFit Mayhem Independence is Ellie Kabourd and is paired with Royce Dunn. They are the team closest to them that has not qualified in the overall standings, but they have a big gap to make up. They currently trail OC3 by 64 points.
I think it would be really difficult to beat Independence because you're always going to be in the shadow of Mayhem Freedom. Even though you work out with them, you train with them, you're not expected to beat them. So I think that there's always going to be, you're always going to ride the governor a little bit. When you look at OC3, those guys, they're hungry. They want to win, and there's no one out there that's going to stop them. It's kind of like, for Independence, it's almost like the little brother beating the big brother. It doesn't always happen just because of the little brother.
They have to complete 50 muscle-ups between the two of them. They can divide it up however they want. Then they move on to 50 thrusters. And again, they can divide those up however they want. 115 pounds for the men, 75 pounds for the women. And now Cody Mooney on the rings for Ramwad Witt. They are one of 3 teams that have already earned an invitation to the CrossFit Games. the teams that are vying for that invite. Here is where they stand as CrossFit OC3 with 200 points. Mayhem Independence 64 points back of them. And then Invictus Back Bay 72 points back. CrossFit 417 has 80 points to make up now, as there are 7 total events in this competition. Craig Kenny in lane 2 on the rings for Invictus Back Bay, and now it's Meg Reardon onto the rings. And Reardon is an athlete who has earned an invite to the CrossFit Games as an individual, as she was the winner of the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge.
Look at that big pop of the hips that Megan has. Gets her legs up, strong pop of the hips to get her body up and over those rings.
Both pairs will be working at the same time. Once the first pair clears the muscle ups, the second pair gets to work. So you don't want to get that log jam behind you. It's really important that that first pair keeps moving. Cody Mooney, he's on the thrusters. We'll send it back down to Rory McKernan on the competition floor with more on CrossFit Mayhem Freedom.
You know, Sean, it's the strength of the team, obviously, that leads to success, but every member can certainly help that. And Rich Froning Jr. opened up with a set of 13 muscle-ups and never did less than 9. So leading the way right now from the front, Rich Froning Jr.
As he typically does, Rich Froning just setting the pace for his team, and he is moving at a great clip in the middle of your screen. He and China Cho paired up. Meanwhile, Tasia Persevich and Dre Straw behind them working on their set of 50 muscle-ups.
And what's important when you have a total number that the team has to achieve is you need to have that communication. Every athlete needs to tell their other athlete, hey, I got 2 left in the tank, so that they can approach themselves up to the bar, get themselves ready to go, and then make that switch. You want to keep that bar or that object or those reps going as consistent as possible. And look at the speed that Rich is doing on that turnaround. That's what I was talking about, making up the time here.
Froning and Cho are onto their box jump overs. The score at the top of your screen is keeping track of the second pair, because that's the pair that matters as far as the race is concerned. The first team to get its second pair across is the one that's going to win. So right now it's Team Ramwad Witt. They have 31 of those 50 muscle-ups down between their second pair. OC3 is in second, and Invictus Back Bay is in third. Camille Leblanc-Bazinet and Cody Mooney on those box jump overs. CrossFit OC3, their second pair, it moved into the lead. Leblanc-Bazinet and Cody Mooney at the bottom of your screen. That's Dre Strom as he and Tasia Persevich paired up for the second pair for CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. Rich Froning and China Cho out first, and Rich Froning is just, wow, just demolishing these.
Well, you know what I mean, and I get it. You put your stronger athlete, make them do some work, but you have to make sure that they're getting the rest at the same time. You can't have one athlete, even though they can go out and do 20 reps, that's great. If you don't let them rest a little bit, they're not going to be able to do their 20 again. So even though Rich is shouldering the load on this, China needs to make sure she steps up there and gives Rich a lot of rest. You can see Rich kind of shaking his legs off a little bit. That's really important for China to be aware of, so she can let Rich rest just a touch.
Now Persevich and Strom are moving on to their thrusters, as now Froning and Cho each have to complete 10 thrusters. They cannot divide this up, or I'm sorry, 10 snatches. They each have to complete 10 snatches.
Nice, wow. And the weight's not light, 225, 145 to open up with, so they didn't get to warm up into this. They got to jump right into that heavy weight.
They have to alternate the reps here. They each have to do 10. 225 for the men, 145 pounds for the women. Grueling and Cho looking to finish things off and cheer on the second pair of Dre Strom and Tasia Persevich, who are right now working on their 50 total thrusters.
And this first pair, once they've made it to the bar for the snatches, I don't want to say they can rest, but they don't have to push it. They need to make sure that they get everyone to count. But they've really made their mark already and gotten out of the way of the second pair. Like you said, Sean, they're the one, the second pair is the one that really counts since they're wearing the chip. Just get out of the way, and that's what all these athletes do, just getting out of the way so everyone else can finish.
The pair of Cody Mooney and Camille Leblanc-Bazinet, they are in the lead right now as far as the first pair is concerned. So they're fighting with CrossFit Mayhem Freedom for the top spot, as the majority of the field looks like they are on to the snatches. We have about 4 teams, it looks like, still on their box jump overs. That'd be the second pair. So every team now has their first pair on the snatches. Now Cho and Froning are done, so they take the lead from those two, Camille Leblanc-Bazinet and Cody Mooney. Mooney will miss that rep at 225. Now he's got to complete this.
Well, he just needs to make sure he gets that done before their second pair behind them make it to the bar.
I think Camille Leblanc-Bazinet is done. She does have another one to go. You have to alternate. You have to get a good rep before your partner can go. So we are past the 9-minute mark here in the third scored event for the team. 7 total. They'll have 4 more tomorrow. This is their final event of this Saturday. Now Cody Mooney starting to struggle with that weight.
There it is.
Mooney will hit that. Now Leblanc-Bazinet steps up to 145 pounds. Don't Stop Misfit looks like they have their first pair through as well, as Dre Strom and Tasia Persevich are working on their 10 snatches. They are in the lead. Camille Leblanc-Bazinet, she is done along with Cody Mooney, so Alex Smith and Jessica Griffith will step up to the barbells.
Wow. Power snatch for Dre.
Woo! Persevich will hit that lift. OC3 also has their final pair on the snatches. Another power snatch for Dre Strom. And now Persevich will hit that. Don't Stop there on the right side of your screen. That's the pair of Jen Smith and Travis Williams. Dre Strom and Tasia Persevich for Mayhem Freedom are on the bottom left. Both of these teams have already earned an invitation to the CrossFit Games. Smith and Williams working at a good clip here. Williams back on the barbell at 225. Remember, they have to do 10 each. They have to alternate. Tasia Persevich, bottom left of your screen, she hits that lift.
And both of these teams are just going really rapid fire with that heavy weight. Travis Williams, wow, holding at the bottom. I was just gonna say, you don't usually see him miss snatch. Any sort of a snatch overhead squat, he's usually so good.
And Invictus Back Bay, meanwhile, they're gonna win the event. Woo! And that's big for them, as they are 72 points back of OC3. So Invictus Back Bay right now with a time of 11:37.24 seconds. They are your event winners. Now it's a battle for second place. And Dre Strom starting to struggle at 225. Jessica Griffith and Alex Smith, the final pair on the floor for Team Ramwad Witt. Strom successful on that lift. Tasia Persevich will hit that. And now Don't Stop is in. Ramwad Witt is in as well. Great news for Invictus Back Bay, as two teams that have already qualified just came across the finish line. That's taking points away from OC3 and Mayhem Independence. And now OC3 is in, so they do some damage control. And important for them as they finish ahead of Mayhem Independence, the team that was the closest to them in the overall standings as far as the invite is concerned, because Mayhem Freedom came into the event in second place overall, but they have already earned an invite. Gray Strom hits his final lift, and he and Persevitz come across the finish line. So Mayhem Freedom will take 6th in the event. So to Invictus Back Bay, they get the win. Don't Stop will take 2nd, followed by Team Ramwad. CrossFit OC3 takes 4th. Mayhem Freedom will take 5th. So Independence and CrossFit 417 are still on the floor. The pair of Jared Stevens and Christine Kohlenbrander. As Jared Stevens hits his lift at 225. Kohlenbrander nails that at 145.
Not giving Jared any rest at all.
He's like, really?
Thanks already. I get to go again. Sweet. That's awesome.
Appreciate
Thank you.
the help. Stevens back to 225. And he will power snatch that. And now Kohlenbrander and Stevens are in for 417. And they will take 6th. CrossFit Mayhem Independence, Chase Hill and Kristen Miller are still out there. So the gap between them and OC3 is going to widen, as OC3 took 4th place in the event. Invictus Back Bay likely to move into 2nd place as far as the invite is concerned, as they earned 100 points and the event win. That will certainly help their cause. Chase Hill will hit that lift. Here's Kristen Miller. Still 2 teams on the floor. CrossFit Balance is one of them. And if you were with us earlier, you know that their athlete Elizabeth Perry suffered a lacerated hand and a broken finger. That meant that Kristen Mead, who just tried 145, had to step in for her so they could keep competing. She's just a member of their gym. She's not a competitor whatsoever. She was here.
Cool. That's so cool.
And she's out there giving it her best. So Balance is able to compete, but officially they have withdrawn, but they are staying on the competition floor. Now, Leblanc-Bazinet to coach Kristen Mead through, and Mead says, hey, you want to do our reps for us? That would be nice. Here's Kristen Mead at 145 and almost had it.
Almost. Just get that head through there. Commit to it. So I'm pretty sure Camille was just saying, like, hey, you got time, rest. Let yourself recover. And that's the same thing I would be telling my athlete. Just rest. Just recover a second. Give yourself the real opportunity to make that lift.
What a moment for Kristen Mead. Went from spectator to competitor here. And now the crowd getting behind her with her lift at 145 and almost had it. Meanwhile, at the other end of the floor, you have a team that's vying for a spot in the CrossFit Games. CrossFit Mayhem Independence. That's Chase Hill. But all eyes right now are on Caitlin Mead. Kristen Miller will hit that lift, as Caitlin Mead at the far side of the floor really wants to hit a good lift at 145, and she has this entire crowd behind her right now. And she's pulling it high enough.
It's right there.
You can see it.
Just has to settle. All she has to do is let herself get under that bar, settle, make sure those arms are locked out, settle at the bottom. She'll get it.
Chase Hill continuing to work through his 10 snatches as he and Kristen Miller are putting the finishing touches on their sets of 10. I just saw Caitlin Mead say to Camille Leblanc-Bazinet, my max is 150. This place is going to go bananas if she hits this lift, even though it doesn't mean a thing. The power of the PR, at least in this setting, would be a PR for her. Kristen Miller and Chase Hill trying to finish up here. Hill almost had that one, just couldn't stabilize it, and he loses it behind him.
He's really good at just sitting down the bottom and, you know, letting the movement stop before it comes up. But sometimes, just get up. Don't wait for it to all stop. Get up before it starts coming back down.
Approaching the 19-minute mark here of the third and final event for the day for the teams. 7 total scored events.
Oh, get it. There
Great
you go.
lift for
There
Chase Hill. Kristen Miller
Nice lift.
continues to just rep those out. Far end of the floor, Caitlin Mead is chalking up.
Chalk it up.
And
Here
she's
we go.
going to make another run at 145 pounds.
Get it!
Almost had it.
Oh, you saw her head go up. That changed her whole hip position. Keep that head straight.
I don't think I've ever
That was
wanted
it.
someone to make a lift more in my
Come
entire
on.
life right now. Meanwhile, Kristen Miller and Chase Hill are in. So all eyes are on a woman who was watching from the stands earlier today. Elizabeth Perry got hurt as Chase Hill finishes up. Caitlin was here on site. They said, hey, you want to compete? Sure. Here she is now.
Now I got to
Center stage of the 2019 Rogue Invitational.
Get it!
Yeah! And she hits 145 for Caitlin Mead! And this place loves it!
That's amazing! That was so amazing!
I don't think a meaningless lift has ever been more meaningful. They're trying to get her to do one more. She says, I don't think I have it in me. You got to end on a positive here. She's going to go for another one. But before she can do that, Patrick Kelly's got to hit a lift. So Caitlin is back up.
Oh, get that head down.
But she was able to get it one time. There's a ton of time left here. 25 minutes is the time cap. And I don't know how many people could deal with this. You're just a member of a gym, and now you're center stage in front of a worldwide audience.
And it's okay. Hey, no one's watching online either. Nobody sees anything. Nobody's looking.
Another try at 145 for Caitlin, and she's so close.
It is right there. Oh my gosh, it's so awesome.
Rich Froding's watching, no big deal.
I mean, just think about it. Just think about it. You're at home. You're watching this competition here. You go to some other event just to watch it. They pull you out, and then they're like, "Hey, we're going to put you right in the middle of 6,000 people and a worldwide stream. How about it? Let's go have you PR your snatch." How would you think about that? That's so cool.
And Caitlin is doing a great job of handling this pressure. And I don't think this place is going to let her leave before that 25-minute time cap hits. They want to see another successful lift from her.
I really think this is the one time where you're like, the seconds need to go a little faster. I don't want more time.
Speed this up,
I'm
please.
ready. I'm ready.
Caitlin Mead, another attempt at 145 pounds.
Get in!
And she will hit that!
Oh, that's awesome!
What an incredible moment here. This has no bearing whatsoever on the competition.
Doesn't mean a thing.
And there is not one person sitting down in this arena right now. And Patrick Kelly will hit that. And Caitlin's going, hey, slow that down.
Stop doing that so fast.
Less than 2 minutes to go.
The weird thing about the snatch, when you do it right, it feels so light. If you're any amount of distance off, it feels so much heavier. So that last lift that she made it look so easy.
Who would have thought that a spectator would steal the show at the Rogue Invitational?
Oh, that's awesome.
Patrick Kelly will make that.
Well, I guess you got to keep on going.
2 straight for Caitlin Mead. I mean, she's found the groove right now. Do it again, less than a minute to go. Remember, Elizabeth Perry, who was on the team to start this competition, had to withdraw. She lacerated her hand and broke her finger in the opening event. Caitlin is a member of the CrossFit Balance Gym. She's not a competitor. They said, hey, put your stuff on, you're filling in. 30 seconds, and I don't know if she's gonna make another run, but
I say do it.
Caitlin Mead, who wasn't even supposed to be here today, is now the story of the day at the 2019 Rogue Invitational. Why not? Give it another rip, Caitlin.
There it is!
And she will make it inside the 25-minute time cap. Patrick Kelly with another lift.
Wow.
And how can you not love that? I forgot who won this thing.
Wow. That really was one of the coolest things I've seen at one of these events.
I don't know if an individual can win the team competition, but Caitlin Mead may have just done it.
That was awesome.
And meanwhile, it was Invictus Back Bay that won this event and really helped their cause as far as putting themselves in a tighter race for that invite to the CrossFit Games. Let's go back to the stuff that had a bearing on the leaderboard first, as this thing was fast and furious from the start.
Yeah, you know, just like we said, you put your fastest people out to the front. So we saw Rich and China out there in the front. OC3, there's Taylor Williamson busting through those muscle ups. The box jumps, again, no worries. Those guys were moving. They looked so good. But what I saw was Rich doing a lot of work. China's a great athlete, but Rich is just such a workhorse. So I think she tried to give him as much rest as possible. Rich not having any issue with those snatches. They just really moved their way through. But then Ramwad, all the way down here on our side of the field, was moving very well till they got to those snatches. Cody Mooney was really starting to struggle. That opened up the door for some of the other athletes. All the way down that far side, you saw Ramwad, they're doing their thing. Then Back Bay comes in, and we didn't even see him. There was so much activity on the floor. Back Bay slides in there with the win. But I'm telling you, the reps that counted, the ones that made everyone in this whole arena stand up, was that right there.
Caitlin Mead subbing in for CrossFit Balance and just bringing this crowd to its feet and keeping it there and stealing the show. Now, usually we'd have Rowe talk with the event winner, but we're going to deviate from that plan right now. And Rory McKernan is with Caitlin Mead and CrossFit Balance.
Well, Sean, in a way, I am with the event winner. I've got CrossFit Balance here. And Elizabeth, first we got to talk to you. A little bit of tragedy took you out of the competition. I can see that you're clearly very emotional. But what's it like kind of seeing your team get to continue on without you?
I'm just really happy that they actually got the opportunity. It means a lot to me that Rogue allowed them to still come out here and have fun, and I wouldn't do anything for them, so I just love that she also gets this opportunity. She's been my best friend for years, and she drove me to the hospital, and I just looked at her, I was like, no, you need to go back. I need you to go compete. So it just worked out really well, and I'm happy just to have the experience for everyone. So. All
right, and Caitlin, this morning you woke up, and you thought that you'd be playing support role. What was this experience like?
It's crazy to watch it on TV, and you're like, oh my God, how do these guys act so cool with all these cameras on them and talking to Rory? And it's just been, I haven't even felt it yet. It's so amazing, and thanks so much for everyone, because I felt every single person in here, and to be able to do this with Liz is really great, because I love her and I love them.
And remember when 150 used to be your 1 rep max, so I can't wait to check in with you and see what your new one is.
On Monday, what my new 1 rep max is, because it's not 150 anymore.
All right, well, you certainly stole our hearts today, and everyone on CrossFit Balance, thank you guys so much.
One more look at Caitlin Mead bringing this crowd to its feet, and I think the Caitlin Mead jerseys are being printed out right now and will be for sale soon at the Rogue online store. An incredible moment, but it's Invictus Back Bay. They win the event, 11:37.24 seconds. Don't stop. And Team Ramwad, 2 teams that have already earned an invite to the CrossFit Games for the 2nd and 3rd, and this CrossFit OC3 for the first time. They do not win an event, but they do finish inside the top 4. Your overall standings now after 3 events, Invictus Back Bay. They leapfrog CrossFit Mayhem Independence. They are now the closest team to OC3 amongst the teams that have not earned an invite to the CrossFit Games. Mayhem Freedom in 2nd. Don't Stop is in 4th. And then Mayhem Independence, they drop down to 5th place overall. Final event of the evening is coming up. And I don't know how we're going to top that, but we certainly will try. Individuals and legends take on Amanda when we return to the 2019 Rogue Invitational.